Testing.
Hi, Mr. Ray.
Good day, Jacob. How you doing?
Good. Just got home from work. Trying to settle in.
Good. So you're home today.
Huh?
I said you're home today versus being at work.
Yeah, I got to make it home, but I just got here though.
Oh, okay. Well, great. I
get
put it this way. I saw something in the back, and I almost said something that technically I'm not supposed to say, but
I got it. No, I kind of figured something about you too, and I that's awesome.
Yeah. So I almost said something. I was like, the whole.
I understand.
Yeah,
but I kind of figured you out too, so that's good stuff.
Oh, okay, that's a good thing.
Good evening, Mr. Ray.
Good evening, Octavia, and congrats. I got your message.
Thank you.
And I'm not sure if you wrote me back, but how many do you have left?
3.
Okay, so that was your first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to start writing down your names of who's here. And so, you might hear me say your name again if I already had said it. Before I forget, I was trying to say it again when more people are here, but if you were trying to take any test between now and December, you just got an email. It seems to be a trend that people take their tests at the end of the year. So there's been a mass influx of test takers, not necessarily people from Fontana, meaning just people outside who are looking for a test site. And because they're a test site for many different tests, they are overbooked. So what they're going to do on December 14th, they will open up registration just for Fontana students. So don't tell anybody else. But basically, they're going to make sure that our Fontana students can get a test. So basically, on the 14th, they will open up the ability to register for a test on the 15th. So it's going to be the day before. I'm going to send you guys the message. I was trying to send it today, but my Remind just would not allow me to send a message. I don't know what happened, but I just couldn't send anything to you guys that has the actual times. Actually, I'm just going to share. I'll share the page where it's located. That way you could just see it as well, and then I'll send it afterwards. I closed my Remind, so just bear with me. So I had sent this to a different class, and you just see what I sent to them. All right, so this was the message that I was trying to send to you guys. I'll just read it. In case you didn't know, testing for GED is booked for the year. Our school will open a special day to register for test on December 15th. So that's the day. If you are trying to take any test before the end of the school year, unless somebody retracts their registration and cancels, there are no open days. So December 15th will be the date. Now, make sure you get this. You can't do it yet. They're going to allow it on the 14th. So on the 14th, they're going to send more reminders and whatnot. But on the 14th, that day, let me see what day is the 14th. The 14th of December is a Monday. So on Monday, December 14th, they're going to open up registration. And that's the goal, is that Fontana students will be able to register. So on the 14th, you register for the test on the 15th, on Tuesday. So the test will be on Tuesday, and these are the 3 times: 8:15 a.m., 12:45 p.m., and 4:30 p.m. So if you miss December 14th, then you miss your opportunity to take the test this year. So apparently every December they get this, and so it must have happened today or yesterday, where all the tests were just all of a sudden booked up. So there's no more dates. So just in case you are planning to take the math test, you're going to have to take the math test December 15th.
If for whatever reason we happen to miss it, when would be the next time that we're able to book for a test?
Possibly won't be until January or February. I'm not sure.
Cool.
But they just said this is just for anyone who wants to finish by 2020.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, but remember, I mean, no, I don't really want to say that. They want you to take it there. But if push came to shove, you could try another testing site. But they do want you to take it at the school because you benefited from the instruction.
Nice.
So,
Mr. Ray,
yes.
question on the test. All of us that are registered taking classes here are going to be able to take it. I mean, none of us will be left out if we wanted to.
Well, that's a good question. I thought the same thing. I just haven't had the chance to send it back. I was going to ask how many seats are available because then it looks like a free-for-all for all the classes. I know we don't have a lot of students in other classes, so I'm not sure how many students we have entirely. I know with the distance learning, our classes aren't as big as usual. Typically, it could be almost 40 students per class. I know one of the science classes has like 2 people in it. Another one has like 5. I'm not sure how the language arts are doing. Social studies is not that large either. I know the math classes, myself, Mr. Baker, our classes are pretty big because most people want to take math and they need more assistance. So I'm not sure how large the pool is. I know it's smaller than usual. So I could send that message back and ask them how many seats are actually available for our students. But my suggestion is just stay abreast, put it on as a timer, as a reminder in your scheduling, on your phone or something. So soon when December 14th starts, midnight, you're on there registering for the test if you want to take it in 2020. All right?
All right.
And I'm gonna try to say it again at the end of the class. I just did not want to forget. And since I had a good bit of people in here, I just went ahead and did that. All right. Okay, I'm just going through your names again, so you might hear me say your names one more time. Good evening, Gennaro.
Good evening.
And Jacob again, just writing your names down.
Yes, sir.
And Raymond, good evening, Raymond. All right. And Justine, good evening to you.
Good evening, Mr. Ray.
Good evening. And Maria, good evening.
Good evening.
And Susanna, good evening.
Hello.
And Latavia, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
And Salvador, good evening.
Good evening.
And William.
Good evening.
Clemente.
Good evening, Mr.
Good
Ray.
evening. And Dorcas, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Ray.
And Dorcas, I'm going to say it again at the end, but since you were the only one who came in within this time frame, it was just an update that if you're planning to take any GED test at Fontana this year, 2020, man, this just sounds crazy. 2020 is over, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the tests are basically booked up. There's no more available spots. So those spots have been taken up from non-Fontana adult school students, as all testing agencies have to be open for all students and all applicants. So what they're going to do, they're going to open up a special day for Fontana adult students. That would be on, let me let George in real fast. December 15th, which is a Tuesday. But they will open up the registration on Tuesday. And they're only telling Fontana students, because they're really trying to make sure the Fontana students who did not get to register have the ability to take the test before the end of the school year, or rather end of the year. So once again, I'll share my screen one more time. The times of the test would be December 15th, 8:15 a.m., 12:45 p.m., 4:30 p.m. The 3 times in which you can take the test. Remember, the registration will open up on the 14th, the Monday, the day before the actual test. There's a question asked, is that enough space for all the students at Fontana? And I'm not sure how many are actually going to be trying. I know
Mr.
some
Ray?
students in my morning math class have made it clear they're not taking the test yet. They wanted to do math again. So
Mr. Ray?
I don't think it'll be a very, very large number. Yes, Clemente?
The test, the registration, how do we,
Okay, so you might have missed that email I had sent. Let me see if I can find it again. And I'll resend it here. Let's see, my GED rating, my GED. And just looking for the link. Actually, I was looking for it in my email, but that's taking too long. I'll just type it up here, my GED. And I'll show it to you, so I'm gonna share my screen.
okay,
So you should be able to, I forget the actual website, so let me just type it in as I go. It should be my GED, here it is. So you go to this website, I'll send it in the chat.
okay,
Once you get there, my internet's acting slow. Really slow. Okay, so once you get here, you see GED testing service. This is where you
Yes.
create your student login.
okay,
And I think I
gotcha.
created one, but I do not remember what I would have put. Let me see. Okay, but you click sign up right here.
Yeah,
I was trying to see. Oh, that's not my email. Anyway, you create one. I had created one just to do a demo, but clearly I don't remember the password I created.
no, that's fine, I got it.
But yeah, once you get in there, oh, that's it right there. Once you get in there, right here, you see schedule test.
Yes,
Yeah, so that's where you do that.
okay,
So you just schedule your test and just basically follow the instructions
Yeah.
from there.
okay,
So
thank you,
remember,
Mr.
just
Ray.
go there, make sure you sign up. It's very simple, just your email address and password.
Okay, gotcha,
All right,
thank you,
just make
Mr.
sure
Ray,
you choose
appreciate
correct.
it.
So,
Mr. Ray, can you please share the screen again for the dates? I want to take picture of it. Like the
okay,
date for.
hold on real fast. This thing won't move. All right, do you see it? Is it there?
Oh my, I don't know what I did to my screen. Oh Jesus.
Mr. Ray, is it on the 15th of which month? December?
Can you guys help
December,
me
yeah.
fix this, please?
So December 15th. And those are the times. Remember, you won't be able to register until December 14th. And my suggestion is, as Salvador had asked, we're not sure how many students are actually applying from Fontana, and I'm not sure how many open spots they have. I'm not sure if they'll open up every single lab or not, because you have the COVID-19 restrictions, so it's not as large as you usually can. So my suggestion is, if you want to take it, midnight, December 14th, you're sitting there ready to register. I mean, December 13th, because the registration opens on Monday. So Sunday at like 11:59 p.m., you want to be there ready to register soon that thing starts. If you can. If not, at least in the morning. If you wait to December 14th in the evening, I'm pretty sure registration would have been filled by then. And let me just send the email now. I'm just going to ask your question, Salvador, whether or not will there be enough seats.
Hey, Mr. Ray.
Yes.
And then the tests are applied in person, right? We show up over.
Yeah, you'll be there. You go to the school.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
Yeah. All right. You could take your calculator, but I'm pretty sure the practice of Fontana is just that they're going to tell you leave your calculator and they'll provide you with a similar one.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'm just going to send an email real fast because I might forget. Just asking, would it be enough space? Yeah. I need to restart my laptop. What's it do? Weird stuff. Blah, 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 blah. I'll send that. I probably won't get a response to tomorrow, so just look out and remind for that answer. All right, so let's go on. I think I got everyone's name down that's here. Any questions from the homework?
Yeah,
Oh,
Mr. Mayor, I just,
before I do that real quick, Dorcas, did you get the picture? I remember you said you're having some issues.
Yeah, I did. I took the picture already for the
Okay,
time.
perfect. Oh, okay. Latavia says she actually took her test online. I didn't know they opened that option up. They let you do that?
I was surprised too.
Oh, really? To do the test online?
Yeah.
I'm really surprised on that one.
Yeah, you could do it. You could do it online.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? That would be nice. Instead of in person?
Well, that's news for me. I did not think they would do that. I thought that would have been. Yes.
Everything's recorded.
You said it's recorded?
Yes.
Oh, so you have to turn your camera on?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I figured I was gonna say they had that. That would be very strange of them to do that. But yeah, if they have your camera on, then you can't leave your computer. That means no one can come talk to you, etc.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So that's cool. So the security's still there. All right. So there you have it. If you do take it at home online, you do have to be willing to allow your camera to be on, and you take the test in front. So that's interesting. Thanks for that update, Latavia. I didn't realize they did that.
Okay.
All right, so now you can go ahead, George. Any questions from the workbook? You had 2 assignments, lesson 4, I believe it was, or lesson 3 and lesson 6.
I'm just saying that I just popped in now. So maybe I'm lost concerning the registration where you are talking about.
That was about there's not enough space at Fontana to actually take the exam. There's no more room for booking a place there, a spot for you to take the test if you wanted to take your GED test before the end of this year.
Okay. So it will be when on that 15?
The day will be December 15th at the times that were shown. And if you want to register, it'll be on December 14th. They will open it up on that day. And the hope is that anyone from Fontana Adult School that was willing to take the test, wanted to take the test, they could register on the Monday, December 14th, to take the test on the Tuesday, December 15th, at those specific times.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead. You said something, George?
No, I just book it so that to keep on remind me, to keep as a reminder so that I will not forget for the read it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so any questions about the homework, the workbook questions? And good day, Marisol. See that you just. All right, so
Good evening,
remember,
Mr. Ray.
good evening.
Thank you.
So remember, I had given you guys an assignment to try, lesson 6, page 78 onwards, and also I think it was lesson 2. Take it back. I think it was lesson 2 in the workbook as well. So any questions from those assignments, or was it pretty straightforward?
Yes, sir.
I forgot about that one.
Oh,
I did not try that one. Sorry.
lesson 6, you said?
Yeah, I totally forgot about that one.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyone else before I move on?
Yeah, I'd like to do a problem with if you can help us out.
Okay, which one is that?
Number 3 on page 79 in the workbook.
Okay, number 3. Okay, I figured that would be one of them. Okay, so number 3 says 0.5, just in case somebody didn't hear it, number 3 in the workbook.
Yes.
And that's page. All right, so number 3 has basically solve for x. So we have here times 4x subtract 8 equals to 6.
Okay.
All right, so you treat it just like a regular number. So act like 0.5 is just 5. And
Okay.
do the exact same thing you would. So what would we do if that was just a 5?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up pretty badly.
You're breaking up, Mr. Ray.
Oh, no. Can you guys hear me?
Now,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm getting you here.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what we pay for. We're supposed to have fiber. It's supposed to be like, you're not supposed to get dropped and all that other stuff.
Yeah, you're fading away and very staticky.
All right, well, hopefully the fiber decides to be fiber and all that it was cracked up to be, and you will hear me clearly. Can you guys hear me?
No.
You're
No.
fading away and staticky.
Yeah, far away.
How about now?
Now we can hear. I can
Okay, I just got, my internet just went up. I read, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. It dropped down to 2, and then just ran up to 4. So I'm back, I think. Am I back?
No.
Somewhat.
Kinda.
It's breaking up. It's like squishy and breaking up.
Man, I tell you. Well,
So
can you
treat the.
can you see me scribbling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna try to just scribble. I mean, I'm gonna try to just write. Forgive me, and hopefully the audio catches up with what you see. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you what to do because I don't know if you can hear my question. So you will multiply in, distribute, right? And so you're gonna say 0.5 times 4, which is the same as saying 1/2 times
Right.
4, half of 4. And half of 4 is simply 2, right? Same thing with the 8. 0.5 is a half. So half times -8 will give -4. All right, and so once you do that, you have a real simple equation to go ahead and solve. 2x subtract 4 equals to 6. And now to solve that, you just remember, start with the weakest operation, which is to subtract 4. Opposite operation, same number. What you do to one side of the equation, do to the other. The 4's will cancel. You have 2x equals to 10. And then, of course, do the opposite operation, divide both sides by 2. So x will be equal to 5. Were you able to hear that explanation, or did you just see it happen? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
you.
you sound better.
All right, good. I don't know if you remember that commercial. All right, so any other questions with this one?
Divide. Okay.
I was thinking of the number 4 because where we have the fraction.
Okay. It looks like some people are still writing, so I'll just,
Just really quick.
yes. Hello? Okay.
Yeah, just
So-
super quick.
Oh, Jacob, are you asking a question?
No, I'm just trying to write down.
Okay, I'm just gonna write it on the side, that way I don't have to erase it. All right, so number 4 is 3 times the quantity, 2/3, x plus 4 equals to -5. All right, same thing. And so you see here, this tests your ability to remember and to produce the correct answers dealing with fractions and decimals. So this is unit 1 is really important to do this part. Now, lesson 6 is just basically the same as lesson 2, just with more challenging questions. It's still the same rules. So we're going to distribute in. We're going to multiply.
I can't hear anything.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I'm getting you, sir.
No.
We could hear you, but you're breaking up again.
Okay, can you see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, it sounds like some can hear me, some can't, some can barely hear me, some can somewhat hear me. So if you can see it, try to interpret what I'm saying if you can't hear me. So 3 times 2/3, 3 times the 4, because that's a fraction, 3 times the 2/3, x plus 3 times 4 is 12 equals to -5. Here the 3's can cancel out. Did everyone hear me say that? The 3's can
Yes.
cancel? All right. remember, the long way would be 3 times 2 on the top is 6, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. Or you can just cancel the 3's and have 2. Either way, you still get 2x. Plus 12 is equal to negative 5. And now you have a regular equation that you hopefully can solve. All right, so you know where to start, hopefully. Do the opposite operation with the same number. And what you do to one side of the equation, do to the other. 12s will cancel out, and you're left with 2x is equal to negative 5 plus negative 12, which will give you negative 17. Is everybody with me still?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes.
Okay, and now we divide on both sides, which is the divide by 2. And so x will be equal to negative 17.2 divided by 2. And that will give us negative 8.5. And what selection choice would that be?
That would be A.
That would be A. And for the other one, what choice would have that been for number 3?
That would be C.
That would have been C, yeah. So there are our answers. And hopefully you heard me throughout the whole explanation.
Okay.
Right? Now, I wouldn't be surprised if someone had a question about number 6.
Hey.
So go ahead and try number 6 if you haven't done so already. I will delay the process a bit and I'll start after you. Has everyone copied this on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And Justine, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's like you're super loud and super quiet, super loud and then super quiet.
Is that the same for everyone else?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You come and go.
Oh, no. Well, hopefully it's not too bad on your ears. Hopefully it'll just get better, but if not, if it doesn't get better and fiber wants to be like DSL, hopefully you just get used to it.
Yeah.
But,
I'm learning how to read your lips, so it's working.
okay, that's good. I wonder if they had subtitles. I should look to see if they have that. All right, let's try number 6. Hopefully everyone had that.
Yeah, right there.
Okay, same page. This is the same page, page 79, number 6. And we have 0.25 times 3x subtract 8 equals to 2 times 0.5x plus 4. And for this one, you are solving for x. Okay, so I'm about to start it, and the reason why we want to try to get as much algebra in as possible. So hopefully you can hear me. We're going to distribute, right? That's your first step, to distribute. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yay. All right, so now there's an alternate step that you could do here, but I'll do it for another problem. So 0.25 is the same as a quarter. So you could turn it into a fraction, or you could just use your trusty calculator. And so 0.25 times 3, it's going to give us 0.75x. 0.25 times negative 8, well, that's a quarter of 8. And so you could possibly figure out what a quarter of 8 would be. If you can't, then you can just do it in your calculator, 0.25 times 8, which will be 2, so subtract 2. Then for the next one, you have 2 times 0.5. That's simply saying 2 times a half. What's half of 2? You can do that in your calculator or in your head. X, and then 2 times 4 is going to give 8. All right, remember you want all the like terms to be on the same side. And let me make sure I'm recording because, yeah, I'm recording. Earlier today for my other class, it didn't record. And so you just see us moving around and no recording. I mean, no audio. So just want to make sure that the audio is recording. All right. Okay, so now we need to collect the like terms, and hopefully you can still hear me. And it's always, okay, perfect. So we can now, it's always easier to move the smaller x value. And so the smaller x value is the smaller number or the negative, right? It's easier to do that. It doesn't matter, but it's easier. And that means you don't run into a lot of weird calculations. So we're going to subtract the 0.75x term. So we want all the like terms on one side and all the other terms on the other. And what we do to one side of the equation, we do to the other. So these will cancel. And what is x subtract 0.75x?
125?
Yes, 0.25, right? Think of it as $1, subtract 75 cents. So we have minus 2 is equal to 0.25x plus 8. And now we just need to collect the other like terms, numbers with the numbers. So we do the opposite operation of the weaker operation with the same number, and what we do to one side of the equation do to the other side of the equation. All right, so those 8s will cancel out, and you are now left with negative 2 subtract 8. That gives us negative 10 is equal to 0.25x. And now we have one more step to do, and what would that be?
Isolate the x.
Isolate the x, and how would we do that?
We do the opposite of it. We divide.
Divide by the same number, and what number is that?
Negative 10? No.
0.25.
0.25. You are always dividing by the number that's next to the x. And the reason why you're dividing is because the number next to the x or the variable is being multiplied. And division is the opposite. So be careful. That's one of the biggest mistakes. People get down here to the bottom and then they divide by 10 instead of dividing by the 0.25.
Okay.
All right, so we divide by 0.25.
40.
Yep, you're going to get a bigger number. Why did I write that? Okay, so divide by 0.25, and you're going to get a larger number there in terms of value, absolute value. And negative 10 divided by 0.25 is going to give us not just 40, but
Negative 40.
negative 40. That's correct. All right, and what choice selection would that be?
That would be B.
That would be B. That would be B. EB. All right, so that would be B. Okay, so that's kind of starting you off. You can, if you did not get to it, my suggestion, especially if you're trying to take the test by December, is to go ahead and practice the rest. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the student book and leave these for you. Hold on. I got an email back from one of those people there, obviously still at school or just checking their emails.
Sorry, this one is too tough, eh? This one, this algebra, this system here, the equation here, I don't know. It's tough.
No, I think the decimal is making it harder. That's why.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And the reality is that most things are decimal or fraction form. You go to the grocery store, you will hardly ever see something cost $5, $6, $7. It's going to cost $6.99, $7.43, etc. So in reality, we're going to be working with decimals and fractions in everyday life. Okay, so I got an email back, and this is to answer your question, Salvador. I got it from the assistant principal, and she said basically what I said. you want to register as soon as possible. But she also said, from the front desk, Esther, if you know who that is, Esther is recommending that students check every single day because, as I said earlier, they do see cancellations. So if you want to take your test and you're afraid you might not get December and you just want to make sure you can get in there, you can check because you do get people who cancel. So every day you can check if you want to take your test before 2020 finishes. So just keep that in mind. Basically, the same things I said to you guys is what the assistant principal just confirmed. All right, so
Mr. Excuse me.
Yes.
How do I just got lost. How do we have the 40, the minus 40? Because I was copying.
We divided this -10 divided by 0.25.
Okay. Negative 10 divided
When
by.
you divide by a number less than 1, it actually goes bigger.
Okay. 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 Negative 10 divided by. Okay. That's why I get that. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And just in case anyone was confused, you could think about it like real money. If you had $10 and you divided it amongst people evenly so that each person got a quarter, how many people should get a quarter, right? Would it be a small number or a large number?
Big number.
It'd be a big number, right? Because you're going to divide $10 into 25 cents. It's going to be a big number. So when you divide a number less than 1, it actually goes bigger than the number you're dividing by. So just keep that in mind. All right, so we're still going to do the same stuff, but I'm leaving the rest of those problems for you to try. If you didn't get to it, remember, you want to make time. If you're not practicing on a regular, you're not practicing enough. And I'm not sure if I showed it to your class, but I showed this to the other class. I'm going to show it to you guys real quick as well. This is from your book. Do you guys see it? Yes, you see it. So this is from Unit 2. You don't have to turn there, but I just want to show you something that relates to everything that I've been saying to you. So right here on page 35, there's an interesting statistic here. So this shows the study time for GED math tests per week, right? And how much time you're going to be spending studying for that. And you notice here that the more hours somebody spent studying, the higher their test score. But what's interesting is that at 4 hours, the person just about passed. Now you spend about 4 hours per week in class, which means if you're only relying on your class time, just to show you on the side, this is percent. So right here, this is 70%. Now 70% as a raw score is 140 because the test is out of 200. So in order for you to pass, you have to do more than 4 hours because at 4 hours, the person gets about 142 max. So if you're only getting time in class, that's 4 hours, you are not adequately preparing yourself. So you do want to spend time outside of class, and that would represent this part. And so, you know, even if you do 20 minutes a day, and you don't have to do all 7 days. It could be 5 days, right? It gives the weekend. So if you did 20 minutes a day for 5 days, right, that's 100 minutes. That's an hour and 40 minutes, almost 2 hours. If you go up 2 hours, right, just 20 minutes a day, on average, I can't even get my pen to work, that's about 6 hours. Notice that at 6 hours, most people get about around 80%. And 80% is about a 160, a guaranteed pass. So when I say to you guys to do those, the worksheets and the workbook, that's to ensure that you could get in this range, right? Because a lot of our students kind of just hover. Like all across the board, all the math classes, no matter who the teacher is, they kind of hover at that 130 to 140. And what's ironic is that when you look at the time of class compared to the statistics done from the GED, it works out. You know, our students get around the same percentages, 60 to 80%, those who don't do the actual time. So you really want to do as much as you can. And I'm hoping my pep talks every night encourages you to study more. But remember, 20 minutes, I mean, that's not a lot of time. That's less than a TV show. And so if you really want to do 30 minutes a day for 5 days, that's 150 minutes. That's over 2 hours. That's near the 8-hour mark. And notice you're really high. That's where you can start getting scholarship offers from universities and stuff. So remember that, this graphic as you prepare. You want to get more time in studying. Okay, so we're going back to the student book. We're just going to do a few problems from here. We're come back to this and
Student book.
Student book. I want to do number 4 from here and a few others.
Okay.
What page are we in, sir?
Page 61 in the student book. All right, so we're looking at number 4, page 61 in the student book. Does anyone have any ideas how we can solve this question, this problem?
So number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4, where you at? Solve the equation for t. Okay.
How should we go about solving this?
Breaking up again, Mr. Ray.
That might have just been my voice.
Is that like a metric?
Can you hear me, Gennaro?
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Okay, that might not have been the internet.
It's doing it again. Yeah, it's doing it again.
Okay, so it was the internet. All right. All right, well, let me just go ahead and do it. And this is not a good night for it to act up because, some tricks that we're going to try to learn here. If we try to solve this the traditional way, it's going to have a lot of fractions, as you can see. I'll show you 2 different ways to do it, and you can decide if you want to learn the shortcut. So the regular way, we have half. And can you guys still hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we went the other way, this one's pretty straightforward. So let me just show you. We just have minus half t. We want to get all the like terms on the same side. So the t's will cancel out, and we're left with 8 is equal to 5.
Mr. Ray, what page are we on?
I forget. Does someone have it?
Yeah, page
61. 61, student book.
Student book.
Yeah, 61. I knew it was 60 something, but I didn't want to scroll back down and lose everything. Okay, so if we are now to collect like terms, this is an easy fraction. Remember, to subtract or add fractions, what has to be the same?
The denominator.
Denominator. And so because the denominators are the same, we only need to subtract the numerators. And what's 5 subtract 1?
4.
4. So we end up with 4 over 2t subtract 10.
Okay.
Yes.
Right, and then we just treat it like everything else. We could change that 4 over 2. 4 divided by 2 is just 2, and so that's 2t subtract 10.
Okay.
All right, I see some answers already. Then we simply just add the 10 on both sides. You get 18 is equal to 2t, and hopefully you can see the answer there. I have to do it on the side. So we divide both sides by 2, and 18 divided by 2 is 9. T equals 9.
Okay.
All right, just for time's sake, I'll show you the other method on another question, because that one was pretty straightforward since the denominators were the same. Any questions about number 4?
Yeah, Mr. Ray, where do we have the 4 over 2? That's why, because it keep on breaking. I didn't get you very well.
From right here.
Okay, subtract.
Yeah, I was gonna ask a question or two. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're subtracting 5 over 2 and 1/2. And remember, because the denominators are the same, you only subtract the numerator. So 5 subtract 1 is 4.
Okay.
All right?
5 over 2 minus half will give you, okay.
Yeah, 5/2 minus 1/2 is 4/2.
Okay, and then I have a question. So the 4/2t, so we just divide it, right? 4
Yeah,
over
because the
2.
fraction bar means to divide. So 4 divided by 2 is 2.
Oh, okay. So what about if it's not an improper fraction? If it's 1/2, so what do we do?
Say that one more time.
For example, this is 4/2, so we easily divided it. What about if in the case it's 1/2? So what do we do?
Well, you would do the same thing we did with the decimal. You just keep doing the opposites. So
Okay.
I wasn't going to do this, but let me show you how to do one with a fraction just to show you. So I'm going to clear this. Can I clear it?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So this is very similar to the first one that we done on the workbook. But I just want to show you what would happen. 0.5 is the same as 1/2 as a fraction, right? Is everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so this way you can see, you still do the same thing. So we start with the recur operation, do the opposite operation, same number. What you do to one side of the equation, do to the other side. These fours cancel, and you're left with 1/2 x is equal to 12 plus 4, which is 16. Now, technically, you have a few ways you can look at this. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
getting
Yeah.
you.
Right. So you can either divide both sides by 1/2, and that's to answer your question, or you can do the reciprocal, which is the same thing. You can times it by
0.5.
2.
Nothing.
Jacob, you had a question?
No. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. And you could times the other side by 2. Both things are the exact same. So it's two ways you can do it if you have a fraction. You can times it by the reciprocal, or you could just divide the fraction. But it's the same thing. The reason why it's the same, if I do it over here, 1/2 divided by 1/2 equals to 16 divided by 1/2.
That would be it.
Remember that 16 divided by 1/2, this right here, literally means 16 divided by 1/2. And remember the rule to divide fractions is to change the sign, and flip the fraction. So instead of doing all that work, I could just do it right away and just say, oh, well, why don't I just multiply by the reciprocal? Does that make sense?
Yes, and if you would have done like, if you times, let's say if we had the 0.5 times 16, it will give us the same, obviously, we have 16 times 2, huh?
Well, no, because you have to be careful, because 0.5, you have 16 divided by 0. I think that's what you said. So yes, it would be the same if that's what you said.
Yes.
If 16 divided by 0.5 is the same as 16 times 2.
Yes.
Yes, and that goes right back to this right here. 16 divided by 1/2 is the same as 16 times 2.
Right.
And it's the same thing with money. If I was to take $16 and divide it up into 50-cent pieces, let's say back in the day we had 50-cent pieces, and I was to give everyone a 50-cent piece, how many people could get 50-cent pieces?
30.
And there we go. So we're going to multiply that. These cancel, and x is equal to 16 times 2, which is 32. So the number gets bigger, just like it would in real life, right? If I had 16 and I divided it by the 50-cent pieces, then 32.
Yeah, and
Right, does that,
yeah, yes, Mr. Ray, and you already had showed us this part, how to multiply.
Yeah.
Yes, you already had showed us that one.
and that's what I'm saying. So with algebra, it's not that much new information. Almost everything in algebra is built off of Unit 1. And I had said that in the beginning. If you can master Unit 1, it really makes algebra easier, because algebra is literally based off of it. It's just like they throw in one component, and that is literally using variables. Algebra is like literally using variables with Unit 1. That's all it really is. So if you know how to do Unit 1, you understand fractions and decimals and ratios and all that stuff, then algebra is just throw in some x and y's in there, and just don't get confused with it. And that's why we went over the definitions in the very beginning. Understanding what a term is and all that allows you to treat the algebraic terms like regular numbers. All right, so that's how you do that one. Hopefully that was clear. And that takes us down to number 10 and number 11. So for number 10, you could do the exact same thing we were doing earlier with decimals. But for some people, it could get challenging. And for some questions, it could get even more challenging, depending on how many decimal numbers are there. So what we could do, we could take a little trick from the place value chart. I don't know if you guys remember, but do you remember when we were multiplying decimal numbers? And what we would do, we would take the amount of decimal places. You remember that? We would say 2 decimal places. And you guys remember doing that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the reason why we were doing that, we were literally writing down the amount of tens that we have. Because remember, after that, we would take out the decimal points and we would just multiply. And then when we got down to the end, we would count the decimal places. Now, what we were really doing, we were counting the amount of tens. That's the same thing as scientific notation. Remember, the amount of place values you move represents a multiplication of 10. You guys remember doing that with place scientific notation?
Yes.
Right? That each decimal point represents a movement, which means I can do the same thing in theory here. If I don't like the decimals, I can multiply it by a number that can change it. And you notice if I move the decimal places over once, well, that's the same as multiplying by 10. And that's exactly what we'll do. But we don't have to write scientific notation because of the equal sign. What I do to one side, as long as I do it to the other, there's no need for scientific notation. All I have to do is say times everything by 10. Everything. So we will multiply everything by 10. Now, you don't have to do this. If you want to work with decimals, you can. But I just want to show you how easy it can be by doing this little trick.
Are we still in page 7?
Say that again?
Oh my goodness! No, I got confused with the books for a quick second.
Oh, okay. We're on page 61, number 10.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, so for this one here, we're going to multiply everything by 10. And I mean everything. So 10 times this one, 10 times that one, 10 times this, 10 times that, 10 times that. Right? Everything's getting multiplied by 10. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And so if we do that, we now get,
6y.
yeah, we get 6y plus 12 equals to 3y,
3y.
correct, 9,
8y.
right? Very similar to what we did in long division of decimal numbers. Now, when you look at it, we have, the answer to this will be the exact same answer if I left it as a decimal. And now that's easier to work with.
And okay, I was gonna ask a question, but I'll wait till we do the problem.
Okay, so now this tests your ability to follow the algebra rules. So when we see something like this, what should we do first?
Same common terms, like terms.
Collect terms. Remember we said simplify then solve. So we're going to collect the like terms and we want them all on one side as well. Over here we have 3y and 8y. So what would that give us?
5y.
11y.
11y. They're both positive. So this is going to give us 11y. So we have 6y plus 12 is equal to 11y subtract 9. Now what do we do?
Say that again, sir.
Make the
We
y.
added the 3y and the 8y together.
Which is 11
Yeah.
minus 9.
So we'll move the smallest one, Mr. Ray, so the 6y over to the 11y.
Okay, well done. Yes, we want to move the smallest one. That gives us less trouble. So we move the 6y over, do the opposite sign with the same term as Salvador said. And so on the left, that cancels, and we have 12. And then what's 11y subtract 6y?
5y.
5y, and then we still have that subtract 9. Okay, what next?
We'll get rid of the negative 9.
Okay, and how do we do that?
We add 9.
We add 9 on both sides. And the 9s, what happens to them?
They cancel.
They cancel out, and what's 12 plus 9?
21.
21 and 21 equals to 5y, and now we just solve for y.
Yes, now we divide the 5 by 5 and do the same thing on the other side.
Okay, and hopefully you guys can do that in your head. 5 goes into 21 4 times with 1 over 5 left over, and that's a decimal, that's 4.2. So which answer selection would that be? And you could do that in your calculator if you can't do it in your head. Well, what is your choice there?
D.
D, that's correct. So D would be the answer there. All right, so
Mr. Ray,
yes.
Mr. Ray, I have a problem going back to the normal mode on my calculator. I'm still stuck on the scientific mode.
Okay, so what you want to do is, can I switch over yet, or is anyone still copying?
I'm copying, sir.
Okay, so what you want to do then is click on the mode,
Okay.
and then you want to scroll down. Let me get up my other calculator. Hold on. I was trying to go by memory. So go down to the second row.
Okay.
You should be on norm. You want to click enter on norm,
Okay. Okay. Enter.
and then hit your clear button.
Clear button.
And now you should not see SCI on the top. If you see SCI on the top, you didn't do it right.
Okay. Let me see now. Oh, it's still not giving me the right answer. Okay.
So what is coming up in scientific notation, or?
Yeah, when I multiply 2 times 3, it's supposed to give me 6. It's giving me 6.0000.
Okay, click mode again.
Mode.
Now, when you get to, don't go to the second row, but where is it highlighted? What is highlighted? Norm, SCI, or ENG?
No, it's highlighting DEG.
Okay, you don't want that highlighted either. You want norm to be highlighted.
Okay, norm. Okay.
And when you finish, you want to check, is norm now white and a black background and the other two not? For norm, it should be a
It's just
dark
blinking.
background.
Yeah, like a dark background, but blinking the lighter one.
Okay, just in case your calculator is having a glitch, do second mode. So do quit.
Okay, so I should click second mode.
Yes. And now try it.
Enter.
No, don't hit enter, just second quit.
Oh, that means I start over. Second and, hold on.
Second and then mode, that's the quit.
Okay, second and then mode. Okay, let me see now. No, I don't know what's going on with it. It's okay, Mr. Ray.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead.
the only other option I can say is to put the calculator on the screen and I can see what's happening.
Okay.
No, okay. But that's all you have to do. So something is happening when you're clicking enter. So you're either not highlighting it, or you can always reset it. At the back of the calculator, there's a reset button. You're gonna need a pen. And you just push the button with the pen and it'll reset it back to the factory settings. And factory settings is normally set on normal.
Okay.
But just in case you're having some type of glitch in there, you can just reset it. Is at on the back of the calculator, you see a reset button. Use a pen, just push it and hold it for like 3 seconds, and it'll reset everything back to normal.
Okay.
All right? Okay, any questions for number 10?
No, sir.
All right, so number 11. Doesn't that look fun?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So fun, we had to zoom in. All right,
Yes.
say that again.
I say you can allow us to try it on our own.
You can. You can go ahead and try number 11. So go ahead and see what answer you guys get.
Oh, dang.
I'm not gonna do it the traditional longer way. I'm gonna do it a shorter way. So, but go ahead and try it.
Mr. Ray,
Yes,
I have a question.
sure.
Okay, all this is totally new for me. I didn't get a school here in US, and I quit a school in my country. So
Right.
this is totally new as I get kind of lost. But my question is about the GED test.
Okay.
Do I have to do the test before the 2020 ends? That's what I understand.
No, you don't have to do it. They they would like you to, but you don't have to. If you feel you want to take math again, you can. I'm not sure if they put a limit. I heard something about a student asked me, did the school change the amount of times that you could take a class? And supposedly there's been some change, but I don't recall seeing an email about it. So I just put that there that it's possible. But as far as I know, I have a student who's taken 4 classes with me and like 3 with another person and 2 with another person. But you don't want to do that, right? And part of the reason that student's doing that because they skip class, they come one day and then they miss like 3 days. And then another time they'll come and miss like 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, actually, I got kind of hard times because I have 2 jobs, and sometimes, as you see, I have to skip the class.
Right. So
I'm just likely focusing on this.
So what you can do is I've been putting them on the YouTube. You have the YouTube link?
I think so. Yeah, I just
right, and that's where you can make up any classes that miss.
Okay.
Now your one is different, so don't think I'm comparing you to him. He doesn't. His not working. He doesn't show up. He doesn't really have the excuse. So what I'm saying is you don't. And this is for everybody. You don't want to miss a class unnecessarily. If you have to go to work, that's how you're feeding yourself, and that's totally understandable. And so that's why they're on YouTube. So you can always go back and check the course. I've been trying to get all the titles there. I put the date. So if you know the date that you missed, you'll see the date on the bottom. And that's how you can catch
How
up.
do we search for them on YouTube? They're under the
No, you
school or
can't
your
find
name?
it because they are unlisted. And I unlist them because, some of you show your faces. And, I don't want people to have access to you. You might not want yourself to be all over the internet.
Okay.
So you can't find them by searching. So I have to actually send you the link.
Okay.
So once I send it to you, you want to put it somewhere safe. And I'll do that right now. Let me send you.
Mr. Ray, you have to send it to us. Please, I'm pleading.
Yeah, I sent it before, but I'll send it again. But you want to put it somewhere safe.
Okay.
I'm talking about the link so that I will not. I don't know when to get it from the YouTube page.
Yeah, what I was saying is I had sent it before, but
You sent it to our Remind account.
Yeah.
It's all there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna send it one more time. So it's in the chat, and I'm gonna send it in the Remind group again.
Okay, Remind group.
Remind.
But thank you, Justine. Was that you?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
I noticed. I was just looking at it right now too, and I also saw the GED website you sent.
Yeah, I sent that as well.
Like it has like a special little link on there where you can see the files that you sent, the websites you sent. It breaks it down for you.
Yep, there you go. And I'll show it again. You might have heard Justine talk about the file section. She's talking about this right here, where you see files. If you click that, you'll see everything that I've been sending in there. So the links, websites, papers, etc. That's where it goes into there. All right,
Reminder?
Remind, yes. Okay. But I sent it in this chat as well, so you can access it both ways. And if you click that, it takes you to, and I'll show you that in a moment. Hold on, let me stop sharing and bring it up. It'll take you straight to the playlist. It'll look a little bit different than my side, but oh no.
And that's going to be since the beginning, Mr. Ray?
Pardon?
That's going to be since the beginning we started classes?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is what it would look, something like this. This is from my side, which is the administrator side. And I've been trying to get the titles there. So you should see them. Orientation, that was just the first class. I just showed you guys how to use different stuff. And then you see the titles there, right? I haven't put the titles in the middle. but you see the titles here again, scientific notation, algebra, etc. So you just click it, and you see, if you click on it, the dates are there. So if I click this one, you guys see it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see George there. All right, so if you scroll down, you see the dates right here. So this lesson was on October 22nd. All right, so that's how you can find it. I didn't put the dates on the side. I should have, but I didn't think about it till after. And it's a lot of work to go to each one and change the title. So
I've got it, sir.
say that again.
I've got it. I've
Okay,
saved
perfect.
my phone.
All right, so that's how you can catch up. So let's come back. Any answers for those who were just working diligently while I was showing that stuff?
Stuck.
Okay. True.
So remember, this is the one we're on, number 11.
Yes.
You could do it using fractions, or you could do it using the method I'm going to show you after. And the method I'm going to show you really works well when you have really crazy fractions. These fractions aren't that bad either. But if you don't like fractions, you know, it could get a little bit challenging.
Mr. Ray, did you get my answer?
Oh, no, where did you send it? In the chat?
Private?
Okay, I don't know the answer. I'm trying to work it out real fast, and let me check. It looks like you are correct, yes. So well done, Dorcas.
Thank you.
Mr. Ray, a problem like this, could we solve it on the calculator?
Sadly, your calculator cannot do that. But there are calculators that can.
Oh,
It's not the ones for the
I
GED.
can't type in an equals sign.
Yeah, it doesn't allow you to do it. There, I think your calculator has another solving method, but you can't solve something like that. The higher calculators can, the more powerful ones, but they don't allow those on, only these ones. So
Okay.
Stuck, sir. I'll wait for your explanation.
say that again.
I said I'm stuck. I'll wait for your explanation.
Okay. And anyone else?
I'm
Yeah,
stuck
me
too.
too. Me too.
Okay, well, let's
Me
go
too.
ahead. Then I heard a lot of me too's there.
That's why I tried the calculator. See if we-
Three.
Just
Okay,
in
well,
curiosity.
like I said, there are two ways that you could go about it, and depending on the question, this is an easy fraction because they are clear multiples of each other, 2 and 4. But sometimes you could get something like 3 and 7, or you could have multiple ones. You could have like a third and a seventh and a fifth, right? And that's where it could get really frustrating. Hopefully you don't get anything like that. Hopefully they only give you these easy fractions. And I know you're like, that's not easy, but trust me, this is easy compared to other stuff that can appear. And I don't think at the GED level they will give you those real crazy ones. I hope. So we have here.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody asked something? I thought I heard someone say something.
Now that you mentioned that they're clear multiples of each other, it just opened up a complete different view of what I could have done to solve this.
Okay, do you want to share it?
Well, since we're gonna have to get all the like expressions to one side and the other, just the same process. For instance, right here, the first one that I would go with is make that half a negative half, make it a positive half, and bring it to the other side of the equation, and then find the multiple because we have 3/4. This a half would be 2/4.
Okay, I would have done that. We could do that in the beginning.
Well, yeah.
So we're gonna do that, and that's correct.
No, now it makes sense in my head, but just explain how you would do it. But I kind of know what I needed to do now.
No, that's exactly what you want to do. And Dorcas, did you do it that way as well?
Mr. Ray, I did mine. I used 4. I kind of figure out the LCD of 2 and 4 is 4. So
Okay,
I multiply all the top by 4.
Okay, well done. That's the second method.
Each of the terms.
That's what we're going to do. That's the easier method. So I'm going to show that after.
Okay.
So if you heard, Dorcas did the method that I was going to show you guys that I said is easier, especially when you're dealing with crazier fractions. So we're going to do that method after, and you could decide which one you prefer to do. Because these are easy fractions, are kind of close in terms of the amount of time that it'll take. So we'll do that one after. It's Dorcas, I'll let you explain it as well. So we have, if you want to, that is, we have here n/4 subtract 2 times 2 is 2/4. This is what Jacob was talking about. And then 3 times 2 is 6, and 2 times 4. Oh, we don't have to do it over there. What am I doing? Forgive me.
No, yeah, it's just for the half.
Yeah, I wrote it on the wrong side. I was supposed to write it next to the 3n/2. So plus, what was it, 3/4. So sorry, the other 2 was supposed to be here, so forgive me. Got confused there. All right, so where were we? So 2 times 3 is 6n, and then 2 times 2 is 4, plus 3/4. So it's easier to do it first instead of after. So the easiest thing is to make all the denominators the same because you're adding or subtracting. And then once you do that, then you can start the subtraction and the addition. So as Jacob said, yeah, you want to move the 2/4 over. It doesn't, I would prefer to move the n/4 first, but just to show you that you can still get the same answer, we will add the 2/4 over here. They will cancel, and 2/4 over here. Okay, what will we have now?
We would have 5/4.
Okay, on that side, we have 5/4, so we have 6n/4, and then just add the numerators, 5/4. Now what do we do?
Now we want to, we want to collect the terms still.
Right.
So we would bring, I guess, 6n/4 to the left.
And how do we do that?
We do the opposite of it,
Okay,
which
so
would be, yeah.
Yep, subtract, it sounded like you said.
Yes.
So those will cancel, and so we basically have n/4, and I know I'm struggling for space there. n/4 subtract 6n/4.
So we have a -5n/4.
Right, and that's going to give us -5n/4 equals to 5/4.
Yes, and now we have like n.
Right, and if you look closely, what times n would get me to +5/4? That could save you some time. Notice it's almost the exact same thing, it's only a negative. So that means n must be equal to -1. Now, if that's too hard to figure out, then you can multiply by the reciprocal.
Okay.
And because you want n to be by itself, you multiply by the negative reciprocal, the same number. So 4/5 negative. And what you do to one side, do to the other. And so what happens is these cancel, you're left with just n. The 5s cancel, the 4s cancel, and you're left with just -1.
Wow.
And so what choice would that be?
A.
A. All right, so that's one method. And depending on the fractions, it could get even longer. But there's another method And we call that, some people call it the LCD method. And it's very similar to what we did with the decimals in number 10. And what you're going to do is you're going to find the LCD, the lowest common denominator, which literally means the lowest common multiple of the denominators. And then you're going to do the same thing with number 10. You're going to multiply the LCD by every single term that's there. All right, can I clear this yet, or is anyone still copying?
Yeah, okay.
Is there another method you said?
Yes, we're going to do
Okay. This one I'm like,
same problem, different method now.
okay,
So the first method was just a regular, traditional, just, you know,
Okay.
add and subtract fractions.
Okay.
Now, the same way you were able to identify that 4 was the LCD, we're going to do the same in the second method. All right, can I clear this yet?
I got it.
All right, I'm clearing it in 3 seconds. 3 longer seconds though. 3, 2, 1, and it's gone. All right, so remember the rule for this, if you like the second method, I don't know how you want to write this out, but you basically find the LCD. Number 1, this is, I guess you could call it method 2 for solving with fractions. You want to find the LCD of all the terms. And remember, LCD signifies denominators, the lowest common multiple of the denominators. We already done that for the first method. So what is my LCD here?
2.
4.
No. Oh,
LCD is 4. Yeah, remember, that's why we multiplied those 2's by 4s. We were trying to get to the LCD. If you don't recall how to find it, remember you're just finding the multiples. So the multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, etc. The multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16. So we have common multiples, 16 and 16, 12 and 12, 8 and 8. But what is the lowest of them all? 4 and 4. Right? And technically you have an infinite amount of common multiples. So we want the lowest common multiple, which is 4. So we could write that on the side, 4. Now the second step is simply the same as what we did for number 10. Multiply everything by the LCD. And by everything. So sometimes to help us out, we just put the 4 on the outside. And we're multiplying everything. 4 times this, 4 times that, 4 times that, 4 times that. Right? Everything's going to multiply. Now, hopefully, if you have practiced canceling method, the canceling method is your best friend when it comes to fractions because it makes life easier. And so hopefully you remember it because I taught it to you guys when we did fractions. So if I multiply this first one, 4 times n over 4, the 4's cancel, and I'm left with just n. Right, Dorcas, do you want to explain the rest?
Yeah, I don't know the way I arrange mine.
You might have done the longer way, so I'll show both ways then.
I just like you were saying, I multiplied all the top by 4, so
right,
I canceled it. Then I just canceled it.
Right.
And
let me just do that. I might be jumping the gun there. So I'm going to let Dorcas go. So don't worry about me. I was doing a shortcut, and that might just throw some people off. Go ahead, Dorcas.
So what I did was in each terms, I multiply each term by 4, like n over 4x, then times 4, minus 1 over 2x times 4 equals 3n over 2, then times 4, then plus 3 over 4, then times 4, 3 over 4x times 4. So what I did was I crossed out all the 4's, and then I have n minus 2 equals 6n plus 3. So
Oh,
then after that, what I did was I rearranged it. I have n minus 2, right, equals 6n plus 3. So you always say we should, from the weaker side. So what I did was, I think I added 2, no, yeah, plus 2, plus 2. Is that what I did?
Yeah, that works, even if you did it.
I moved it, let me see. And then I have 5. I don't know, Mr.
You're on the right track.
Then I have 5n.
Okay, it looks like you did it the other way. So let me, it looks like you subtracted the n first. Because if you said 5n, then you should have, you went this direction. All right, I will continue it from there then. Thank you for getting us this far, Dorcas. So we'll subtract 3 on both
You're
sides.
welcome. Yeah.
And those 3's will cancel, and you're left with -5. I'm struggling to fit it in here. So over here we have -5 equals to 5n, and then divide both sides by 5. And so -5 divided by 5 is going to give us -1 equals to n. All right, so that's the second method. Find the LCD of the terms, multiply everything by the LCD, which eliminates the fractions down to a regular equation, which should be easy to solve from there on out. So 2 simple steps: find the LCD, multiply everything through. Now, with the cancellation method, it becomes easier if you know how to cancel, because you basically skip this step and it takes you right to the regular numbers. And so you want to practice canceling in your head. It makes it really easy. But those are 2 different ways that you can approach the problem. Sometimes the first method is faster than the second method. Sometimes the second method is super fast, and the other method can be like take up a whole page. So it just depends on the question. But knowing both ways can really save your time. This way, I mean, I can't stress how good it is to know this method. And you'll see as we move on, or as we go to different problems, even in geometry, it is really good to know how to do the LCD method. All right, any questions with what we've done with number 11?
Mr. Ray, let me ask something. I'm asking because where I get lost was we have the equal sign in the middle. How can we use the LCD? Because we have 4n minus, we have n over 4 minus half equals to, then why should we be using LCD to have the answer? That's why I have the problem. Because of the equal sign, I think that it will give me the different statement.
Now we're multiplying both sides by 4, on the left side of the equal sign and the right side. And what I said in the beginning, instead of writing all these numbers, I'm just going to put a brackets around the whole equation to signify everything is being multiplied by the 4. So everything got multiplied. 4 times n, 4 times 1, 4 times 3n, 4 times 3. Remember, when you multiply numbers by fractions, you multiply the numerator. Does that help?
Okay, thank you.
And every time you multiply a number with a variable, it cancels out and you keep the variable?
Well, it only cancels out if they have similar multiples. And that's why we do the LCD method, because if you find the LCD, it will cancel out all the denominators.
Mm.
And that's the whole purpose you have to find the LCD. Because it will make sure everything cancels, and that's how you're left with that number.
Okay.
All right, any questions with this one?
This one was fun.
Can I clear it? Was that a wait or?
Yes, please wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to try it again, there are problems in the book in the workbook. Remember, I forget the page, I think it's 70 something. If you look at page 70, was it page 80? Page 78 to page 81. Now remember, you don't have to do that method if you don't like it. You can stick to doing the regular fractions. And if that's your preference.
So the answer is 0, sir?
Pardon?
What's the answer for this? 0?
N is equal to -1.
Oh.
So it continued over here. This is where it continued, right there.
Okay, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm finished, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I'm through.
Okay, so can I clear it now?
Yeah.
Yes,
Just
you
to
can.
show you, you could do that LCD method just about on any type of I thought we had another fraction here. Just to show you, I could do it even with this one. This is a real simple one. Using the half x subtract 4 equals to 12. If I did that LCD method, the LCD is 2 because that's the only thing there. And if I multiplied everything by 2, 2 times a half is just 1, so x. 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 12 is 24. And then I can just add the 8 on either side, and x would be equal to 32. So you see, that way was actually faster doing the LCD method. No fractions involved. I didn't have to do no subtract a half, divided by a half, all that stuff was eliminated just by knowing the LCD method. So I'll do it one more time. Because I rewrote this as a half, so half x subtract 4. Remember, the step is to find the LCD of all the terms. These are 1. Remember, any number is written as a fraction as over 1. So the LCD of this would just be 2, right? That's the only denominator. And so if I multiply everything by the LCD, so, and I put everything in there in brackets just to make sure you know, 2 times a half is just 1, so x or 1x. 2 times the 4 gives me the -8, and 2 times 12 is 24. So you see, in one step, I've eliminated anything dealing with fractions. And now I just need to add 8 on both sides. And if you compare that to your first question, hopefully you see that's actually easier doing the LCD method.
Yeah, it's easier.
Yeah, it's way easier, especially if you get to more complex questions. You eliminate the fractions one go, and that's why if you're good in fractions, algebra gets really easy. All right, I could create another one so you guys could see it. I think we had some other fraction questions somewhere. Let me see. Sometimes I might have to make up some just to help. You know, they don't give you a lot of fraction questions to try. So I'll try another one here. I'm gonna switch screens. Can I switch screens? Anyone copying that? I'll just make up some, just so that you can see the effectiveness of it. So let's say we had, this is from the book actually, x divided by -2 plus 4 equals 8. This is from page 52, it was the example. And you know, they did it a little bit longer, but just to show you how the LCD method will work. What would be the LCD here? There's only one fraction, so what's the LCD?
-2.
-2. So if you multiplied everything by -2, oops, what did I do? I have like 3 desktops up. That's weird. You know, you can learn stuff by just clicking. All right, I learned something new today. But anyhow, I'm back here. So we multiply by -2. And if you do that, those -2's cancel out, right? They're gone basically. And so you're left with just x. -2 times +4 will give you -8. And the -2 times that 8 will give you -16. All right, and then just add 8 on both sides. and x would be equal to -8. And if you compare that to page 52 in the little exercise, it was much faster than their regular method. And so what happens is with the LCD, as you get more fractions, then all you have to do is look at the denominators, get the LCD, and then just multiply everything by it. And once you do it, it eliminates the fractions. You're left with just regular numbers, which are really easy to work with, and you just work your way down. Has this helped anyone change their idea about the this method?
Yes, I'm liking it.
All right, let's try another one. I don't have to make it up. I'm looking in the book. They don't really give you a lot of fraction questions, and then they'll surprise you on the test with. Oh, you know what? Let's do number 10. I'm going to change number 10 into, I'm going to change number 10 from page 61 into fractions. So 6/10 is the same as 6/10y. 1.2 is the same as 12/10 equals to 3/10, which is 3/10y. Subtract 9/10, which is just 9/10, plus 8/10 y, which would be 8/10y. And you could look really close here. What is your LCD?
10.
10. So if you multiply everything by 10, which is literally the same thing we did for the decimals, all the 10s cancel. So basically you're canceling straight through. You could multiply it out. If you multiply it out, you have 60/10y, and that just takes a little bit longer to do. But if you practice the cancellation method, it makes life easy. So you're just left with 6y plus 12 equals 3y, subtract 9 plus 8y. And you see it's basically the same step that we did in number 10. And then you just solve. Is that making more and more sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to make up another one. First, I'm just seeing. All right, so let me just make up one here. I don't know if it's going to work out nice, so because I'm making it up on the spot. So let's say we had 3n/5 subtract, let's say 2 over, no, let's not use 5. Forgive me. 5 will make it a little bit more challenging for tonight. Let's say 3n/4. And then let's say 2, instead of 2, you would use, say, 5/8 equals to, I don't know, 1/6 plus 7n/12. Okay, so what is the LCD here? The lowest common denominator.
4.
Not 4, because 8 can't go into 4, 6 can't go into 4, and 12 can't go into 4.
6.
No, 8 can't go into 6, 4 can't go into 6, and 12 can't go into 6. Remember, the lowest common multiple has to be larger than the biggest number.
I think it could be
24?
24, that's correct. So the LCD is 24, which means if you multiply everything by 24, so, you know, in case you're just like, you don't like it on the outside, basically you're doing this. You're multiplying 24 by each one. But I don't like to write it out that much because then you have to write another line. But if it helps, you could do that. Now, the reason why you want to cancel, because if you multiply these, they're getting bigger, but you can't. Now, the cancellation method works like this. 24 divided by 4, right? You cancel those. What's 24 divided by 4?
6.
6.
6. So that means you got a 6 here, and you're multiplying. So 6 times 3 is 18n. Did everybody catch that?
Yeah.
Then
Yes.
24 This time I wrote the 24, all the numbers next to the numbers. See here, I wrote on the outside. But just in case anyone was lost, I put it all inside. And then cancellation method says to cross cancel. So what's 24 divided by 8?
24 divided by 3.
3.
So that means I have a 3 left that's being multiplied by the 5, which is 15. And then I do it again. What's 24 divided by 6?
4.
4. So I have a 4 times 1, which is just 4. And then what's 24 divided by 12?
2.
2. And I have a 2 times the 7, which gives
14.
me 14n. Now notice, in one step, I have eliminated like 4 or 5 steps doing the regular method. Does everybody see that? We found the LCD, and then we multiply everything by it. But if you're good at fractions and you cross cancel, you'll save yourself a lot of time. Does anyone need me to do that again?
No, sir.
All right, so once you do that, this is easy to solve. So what would I do now?
Let's see. Does it matter if we do either one, with the variables or not the variables? Like times, I guess.
Like terms, so let's start with the variables. I'm gonna subtract 14n. I always start with the variables, just get them out of the way first. And so what's 18n subtract 14n?
You have 4n.
4n, I must have said 6. All right, and then what do we do?
4n minus 15. We're gonna add, let's see.
Add the 15 to both sides, that's correct.
Right.
So the 15s cancel and you have 4n is equal to 15 plus 4, which is
19.
19, and divide both sides by 4.
By 4.
That's, you could rewrite that as a mixed number or a decimal. 4 goes into 19, 4 times, and 3 left over.
4 times.
All right, so 4 3/4 would be that answer. Now I made that one up out of thin air, so I'm glad it worked out nice. Is that better? Does it make more sense?
I actually like it. I'm just trying to remember the steps. Look,
Right,
LCD 24. Okay. 24 divided by 4. No, that cancels out. So it's 6 times 3n, 18n. Okay. I see. I'm seeing it. I'm just getting it down.
All right.
I actually like it.
Those of you who have finished, try to do that same method with number 4. Number 4, we did the regular method. See if you could do the LCD method and get the same answer.
Number 4.
Number 4. Try the LCD method with that one and see if you get the same answer. I think the answer was A.
Is it in the student book?
Yeah, student book. Number 4 in the student book, page 61. We did it already. We did it with a regular fraction, but see if you could do it with the LCD method.
Page what? 61?
Page 61. All right, does everybody have this down?
Yes, sir.
All right, so number 4, did anyone get the same answer using the LCD method? So you have a half t plus 8 is equal to 5/2 t subtract 10. Now remember, we did this one already, and I think the answer was A, number 9 was the answer, if anyone could correct me. I think that was the answer. So let's try this one. What is the LCD here?
The LCD is 2.
The LCD is 2. That's the first step, find the LCD. Second step is to do what?
To multiply each times with 2.
Term by the 2, right? So this time I'll write them next to each other, just in case that other one was confusing people. So I do the same thing I did for this last one. So you're going to multiply everything by the 2. Okay, and so what happens here, if you cross cancel, 2 divided by 2 leaves you just with t. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times these 2, this cancels, and you're left with just 5t. Subtract, I forgot to put a times 2 there, times 2. Can everybody make that out?
Yes. Yes.
You could make it out? Okay. Just gonna try to maneuver this stuff over just a bit, but that didn't work. All right, so time minus 2 times 10. So that would give us 20. So you see, using the LCD, we eliminated the fractions, and then we just start doing our regular routine. Move the variables first is the easiest, I believe. The t's cancel, you're left with 16 is equal to 5t subtract 4t, which is 4t subtract 20, and then just add the 20 on the other side. Those cancel, 20 plus 16 is going to give you 36. And then just divide both sides by 4. And 36 divided by 4 is 9. And so you get the same answer, 9 is equal to t. But you see, sometimes the LCD method can be shorter, and it's normally shorter with harder questions, and it's normally longer with the easier questions. So it's kind of like an inverse thing, but that's where you really want it, for the longer questions. And a prime example where it really comes in handy is page 66. And I'm saving this for last, so if we get to it, we get to it. If we don't, we don't. But on page 66, you see where it really comes in handy when we get to what we call rational equations. All right, any questions there?
Sure.
Okay, so remember, at first glance, whenever you learn something new, it might look challenging at first. And you have 2 decisions to make. To either feed the wolf or to feed the, trying to think something else that runs away. Whatever is scary. So if you feed the wolf's going to be like, I could do this. I'm going to master this thing. I'm going to attack it, and I'm going to own it. But then the scary creature that I couldn't think about, something that runs away all the time. Let's say the rabbit. Or you could feed the rabbit, and the rabbit's going to say, oh, this is hard. Right? But you don't want to be the rabbit. Remember, the way to feed the wolf is just practicing. And if you practice 20 minutes a day, you set aside 20 minutes. You might as well just say half an hour. If you could set aside a half an hour, a TV episode, to review the stuff that we've done, I assure you, it gets easier and easier. You may think I'm telling a fib, but I'm not, because I've experienced it. I told you guys before, I did not do well in math in high school. I had to take remedial math in college. It was the most embarrassing thing. And then I built my way back up. And as I got higher, I had a professor who told me I didn't study enough. I took offense to that. But as I reevaluated myself, I went home that night, and guess what I did? I played PlayStation all night. And then the next night, I watched the movies all night. And then I realized, you know what? I don't study. And so I started to study. I had to actually go to a library because my roommates were very distracting. But soon when I start to do that, guess what happened? My understanding just went out of this world, and I just everything started to make sense, and my understanding, my retention level just went up. And the research shows it. Anyone who's done it can tell you from their experience that the more you practice that which seems challenging, the easier it gets. So hopefully that means on Tuesday, I should have more questions regarding the workbook questions from page 78 to page 81. Try them out. What you may run into issues with, just make sure you have questions ready for Tuesday.
78 to 81?
78 to 81 in the workbook. All right, so we're going to do one more thing tonight. We're not going to do everything else on here. I do want to expose you guys to other topics. And we're going to go back a lesson, a page, to page 58 in the student book. And we're just going to learn now how to do tables. Now, doing tables, you've basically done the concept already. All it is substituting values. And you create a table to represent it. And so when you do that, it actually creates what we call a pattern. And that pattern can be written within a table. And so just to kind of give you that example, here's a number pattern here. Does everybody see that? -10, -5?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you take a guess what the next set of numbers would be following the 15?
20, 25, 30.
Hey, that's literally it. And most people should be able to see it one time. So the next set of numbers would be 20, 25, and so you can clearly see that this is going up by 5. Now, how the table works, this will represent our output values. And the X values just represents the first term. So this is our first term. That's our second term, our third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right, so that's our pattern. Pattern is simply, we can see what the pattern is and we can put it into a table. Now the thing is, from this pattern, we can create equations. I can literally create an equation from this, and I'll show you how to do it. You don't have to worry about knowing how to do it yet. But what is the pattern that's happening here? It's going up by what?
5.
By 5. So that means my equation is 5 times some number. But if I was to say 5 times 1, which is my first number, I get -10. And so in order to get to that -10, because if I put 1 in here, I get 5, then I can just subtract 15. And that will get me to the -10. And now I have an equation. And any number that I put in there is going to yield that answer. So if I substitute 3 in there, 5 times 3 is 15, and 15 subtract 15 is 0. If I put 8 in there, 5 times 8 is 40, and 40 subtract 15 is 25. Does that make sense?
Mr. Ray, I have a question. So how did you come about 5x minus 15?
You said how?
Yeah.
Okay,
Are you
so,
using the table to do that?
No, well, yes, I basically did. So what I did is I noticed that there's a pattern, and the pattern is that it increases by 5.
Okay.
So if it increases by 5, then that's basically multiples of 5, and the multiples of 5 are 5 times something, which we can call X. And so that's how I got the first part. Now the second part I got is simply by saying that if I was to times 5 times 1, I would get 5. But notice 5 times 1 gives you -10. So the question is, how do I get from 5 to -10? Well, I would have to take away 15. So if you do that in your head, if you have $5 and now you owe someone 10, well, how much money did you spend? Well, that was 15. So that's how I created the equation. Now that equation is true for everything else. Now, like I said, you don't have to worry about that right now, but I'm just trying to show you the relationship between an equation and a table. And so what happens is you can just substitute values in. So for instance, here's the function. It's f, you might see this term f of x. It's just another way to write it. It's the same as saying y equals to 4x subtract 2. So wherever you see f of x, just picture a y there. Right? So basically, you just substitute. Notice that this is the negative second term. So you just put in there 4 times negative 2, subtract 2. Right? You just substitute your x value into the x value. Does that make sense? Just substitute it in. And 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And negative 8 subtract 2 is negative 10. And that's how you get that corresponding value. Does that make sense? You just substitute. The same thing happens if you were to substitute negative 1 in there. If I substituted negative 1 into this x value, then what would I write? Now, we've done this before. 4 times negative 1, right? I'm replacing the x for negative 1. And then I'm using this equation here. Subtract 2. What's 4 times negative 1?
4.
4. And what's negative 4 subtract 2? Negative 6. This is how you get that. If I was to keep on doing this, now x is equal to 0. So notice the top row is all the x values. If I substitute 0 into that x, I have 4 times 0 minus 2. And what's 4 times 0?
0.
And what's 0 subtract 2?
0.
No, 0 subtract 2.
2 is 2.
Negative 2. And that's exactly what you see here. And if I kept doing that, I could do that for every single one. If I say substitute x equals to 1 into here now, that's 4 times 1. Subtract 2. And what's 4 times 1?
4.
And what's 4 subtract 2?
2.
2. Do you see how the table is being created? It works both ways. The table simply represents what happens as you substitute values. And if you look closely, what is happening between these values? I'm going down by 4. I'm not going down. I'm going up by 4 each time. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It creates a pattern. And from that pattern, that's how we get that 4x. And if you wanted to create the rest of that equation, I have 4x, but 4 times 1, and it might throw you off a bit, but 4 times 1, because that's where the 1 is 4. In order to get to 2, I will have to subtract the 2. And so basically from the pattern, we can create an equation or we can predict what will come next. So if I had a 3 here, could you predict what would be the next number?
Yes.
What would it be? Notice we have 2.
Where's the place, the position? Sorry.
10?
It would be 10. Okay. That's correct. And if I had the 4th one, what would be the next number?
14.
14. And so I have 2 different ways I can approach it. I can substitute to find the value, or I could just look at the pattern below and determine what the next number would be. All right, so let's try that out real fast with another one. So I'm going to shrink this down. Remember, we're still in the student book. So here, this pattern looks a little bit hard, and they don't give you anything else. All they show you for number 2, it says, how much sales tax does Susan owe if her purchases are $25? They show you some equation, which would be pretty challenging for some to do that. But do you notice anything happening here with the money?
It's going up by 40 cents.
It's going up by 40 cents. So could you predict what the next number would be?
$2.
$2.
Yes.
And that's your answer, $2. Now that was a short way. That's just noticing the pattern. The longer way would have been I had to substitute 25 into this equation. And so I would say y is equal to 0.08 times 25. And I could take out my trusted calculator, 0.08 times 25, and I'll get y equals to 2. So I have 2 ways to go about it. Each thing that we see here, we call them a corresponding pair. And that's the connection that they have. Is that starting to make sense?
Okay.
Yes.
I have two
Yeah.
ways to do it. That's the key thing. I have two ways to determine that. I can look for the pattern, or if they try to be tricky, because sometimes they're tricky. Sometimes instead of putting 30 here, you see the X's are going by 5s. They might put here 37. And they're testing your ability to see, oh, if I can't see the pattern, can I use the substitution method? Does that make sense?
Yes.
And sometimes they might be tricky. They don't give you the equation, and they want to see, can you predict it from the table? Do you
Can you
notice the pattern?
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
All right,
They'll skip a bunch of slots and to see
right.
if
They
you can
might,
see how if you worked it out correctly, you'll hit the right number.
right. And even still, you could try to, if you didn't want to use the equation, you could just try to figure it out by seeing what the pattern is.
What would it be if it was 37?
The easiest way for me would be to substitute it in. So they say y equals to 0.08 times 37, and then work that out. And so
Oh, okay.
0.08 times 37 would be 2.96, which would have been a little bit hard to try to figure out without.
Calculator.
Yeah. Now, it wouldn't be too hard because they're telling you already what the pattern is if it was going by ones, and that's 0.08.
Okay.
So there is another way, but I don't want to overwhelm you with all the different ways right now. But if you understand patterns, you can figure it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
I see. That's great.
Yeah, you see it. You see the patterns. What time is
Yeah,
it?
yeah. That's what gets me. That's what throws me off sometimes. Is like I'll try to remember a method, and I already learned, like I've been taught 3, and I'm like I get them mixed up sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why I try to limit the different methods. I try to
Yeah.
limit it to just 2 methods alone, because if you know 2 methods, that's normally enough to do well in the GED. Even
Yes,
one
sir.
method is okay, but sometimes the second method is needed, because if
And
they do throw you
it
a
could be
loop,
faster.
yeah, sometimes you can see it.
That's all I keep thinking about, the time the time factor on this.
Yes, and that's one reason why I've been pushing 2 methods and practicing. The more you practice, the easier it gets. It's like tying a tie or your shoelaces. The first time you try to tie, let's say you all grew up with Velcro shoes, right? And now you're old enough and I'm trying to tell you how to tie laces. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be like, why can't I just have Velcro shoes? Yeah, that's the reality. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you've never learned to tie laces, it's going to be challenging. But if you keep practicing, you're going to get it. You practice again, you do it a little bit faster. And then before you know it, you could do it with your eyes closed. It's the same thing with math. It's no different. It's the same mental skills that are needed. It's all about practicing, whether it's soccer, basketball, football, hockey, whether it's knitting, sewing, changing your clothes, right? When somebody has a stroke, they have to reteach them how to walk. Think about a baby, how many times a baby falls. When a person has a stroke, and it's depending on what type of accident they have, or they almost got paralyzed, they have to relearn all the stuff that we took for granted as a baby. And it doesn't matter whether it's math, calculus, science, social studies, you can learn anything you put your mind and time to. Notice I said time. Yes, the time might be hard, but you can make the time. It may be difficult at first because you might have to turn off some luxuries. And by luxuries, I mean, you might want to turn on Netflix or Hulu, or, you get the picture, or the PlayStation, right? And so, it's just, the test is next month. So if from now to then, you go back and you practice, like basically what we've covered and what we will finish by December can get you above and beyond 140 something. But it just matters what you do between now and December 15th if you're planning to take it then. Right? So practice. Keep the end in view. You want to pass this. If you want to see me again next semester and take my course, I'm fine with that. But if you can pass it, why not do it?
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys can do it. I've seen it. And you know what? There's no offense to the other class, but do you know you guys have tonight, you passed the other class?
Oh, wow.
You started 2 weeks behind them and you have passed them already. Right?
Wow.
And you can see the difference. There's a hunger with most of you guys. You guys really want to learn it. And I can see it in the questions, the answers. I get almost 100% participation when I ask for answers in the chat. you can see there's a difference. And because there is a difference, even though you might think you're not, I can tell the difference between this class and the morning class. This class has a bigger desire collectively, and that's why we're moving faster. And if that desire continues, there's no reason why you guys can't do well on that test. All right, so we're gonna call it quits here. Remember, we wanna try to do those problems, the ones that we didn't finish, lesson 6, and then the ones that we just started here. Try to do as many as you can. It's better to try than not to try at all. One more thing I'll say before I close out for good. One of my things that I used to have on my wall when I was in high school that I always used to scoff at, but now I repeat, is you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Sometimes we're scared of missing, but if you don't take it, you missed it. You don't even, you missed it, right? But if you take it, at least you can say, I gave it a shot. So make sure you try it. Try to do the homework. Try to do the practicing.
Yeah.
You know.
I like that. That's neat.
Yeah, yeah.
You miss 100% of the shots you didn't take.
Yeah, I used to see it all the time. It was in science class. It was a big banner. I used to look up at it, whatever. But it was imprinted in my mind. I used to always remember.
Yeah, I got something similar imprinted. I'm a what if guy.
Yeah,
what if?
And I have a lot of what
ifs. That drives me crazy. What if I should have?
I'll tell you what, one thing, you could, if you have to go, you can. But I almost bought 100 Bitcoin when it was 1-to-1.
Oh.
I would have been a minute. I think about it all the time because I would have had a different
teacher.
Pardon? Yeah. I would have been a teacher. Yeah. You never know, but yeah, it's a lot of what ifs, and you don't want the what ifs. You want, what if I did take the time and study? What if I passed it that first time? Go ahead and study it because you learn it.
Yes, sir.
Confidence will build. So, and another one I remember from high school. What was it, like shoot for the stars, and if you miss, you land, something like that. I can't remember that one too well. But basically, if it's if you shoot high, if you miss, you're still going to end up high. That's the basic.
Yes, if you aim for the moon, you might hit a star.
Yeah, there we go. You heard it before.
Yeah.
All right, so hopefully I've inspired you as well. The inspiration goes a long way. If you're inspired, you could do better. Just like if a person's about to shoot the free throw, this free throw will win the game for basketball, right? And the person is defeated. I'm going to miss this. I'm so dumb. I can't do this. I don't even know why I'm up here shooting. Their chances of making it are slim to none.
I was thinking the same. Shaq should have took your math class.
I know.
Well, hopefully everyone is inspired, and that's the goal.
Yes, I am. I've learned a few things today. I've taken this class a couple of times, and things are making sense. Little by little, they really are.
That's
good. Really are.
And remember,
I see the difference in the classes.
And remember, if you explain it to other people, that's why I asked you guys to tell me what to do. That's what really cements it.
I write it down. I take my snapshots with on my phone too, on my notepad. And at work, I have my own little whiteboard there where I practice with my partner, my coworker. All right. I'm teaching him, and he's looking at me like, yeah. Like he knows what he's doing.
I said that to you, Gennaro, because you've corrected me a few times. Dorcas, you're correcting me. I think Latavia, a few of you have corrected me. And I like that because that means you're thinking, you're following, you know what's next. And that's what you want to do. So if you haven't corrected me and you see an error, say, Mr. Ray, that's wrong. And I don't get offended. So if you had a teacher that gets offended, that's not me. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You correcting me. So I got excited. So, keep it up. You guys can do it. Don't be discouraged. If you felt discouraged with today's lesson, then you go at it, right? Face your fears. You go at it this weekend. You're like, I'm going to tackle this thing. I'm going to practice everything that I've written down. I'm going to get this. Right? Be hungry. Hungry for success.
Yes, sir. I got this one last test. That's it.
There we go. We got this.
Mr. I have another question. Are you always on Remind or just on class days?
I'm normally on it. What was happening, I told my
I have a question. I might have a question tomorrow about the 15th, the 14th of December.
Yeah, just send it. I've been having trouble with my phone. That's why.
Okay.
And so if I'm on my computer, I see it. But with my phone, I could see sometimes people are sending me stuff, but for some reason, I just can't open it. When I open it, it signs me out. When I try to sign in, it goes all over the place. I don't know if I need to update it, delete it. But from my phone, it's a bit difficult. Just send it anyway. I'll try to check
Mhm.
on my laptop more often.
Okay, it's about registering for that day. So,
Okay, yeah, just send the question in.
all right. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome.
Have a good
All
night.
right, enjoy your
Great.
evening, everyone. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Ray, I
Good
have a
night.
question.
All right.
Goodbye.
All right, enjoy it.
Mr.
Have a great one.
Ray,
Be safe.
Thank
If you're
you,
traveling,
Mr. Ray.
you're welcome.
Mr. Ray, I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah, for the test, do we have to do it one time or we do it bit by bit, like math, language arts?
Oh yeah, you can
So
do it
just-
bit by bit. The suggestion from the school is that you do at most 2 at a time. But yeah, doing it bit by bit is much better.
Can we do it over per day or maybe
Okay.
twice for maybe
Okay.
15 and 16?
Oh, I don't know
The
if
only
I'm
way
ready,
that
but
could
I'll
happen
try.
is if somebody cancels. So the reason why the 15th is up is because they're booked up. December, I guess everybody wanted to get it done with their Christmas present, I guess. So they're going to make a day. So that day is not available. If you try to register now, you won't see it. It's only on the 14th. On the 14th, school will open it up,
Okay,
and they're only letting.
Mr. Ray, what page is this? Is in the workbook or student book?
You mean what's on the page right here? This is page 59 in the student book right now.
Yeah, right there on the screen. What page is that?
That's 59 on the student book.
Okay, 59. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so George, hopefully that answers your question. Just remember, I will remind you, of course, but it's kind of like a free-for-all. So, you know, if you need someone to
59 on
assist
the
you in
student
signing
book.
up, ask one of your children or grandchildren, if you have grandchildren or children, young children know, young people know how to do everything.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But you want to sign up on the 14th early in the morning so that you could get a spot. That's if you want to take the test. If you don't worry about it. You could take it next year. But that's if you want to take it. All right.
Okay.
All right. And keep it up, George. You've been doing well.
I'm asking is that if we want to go in for the 3 tests like the 3 tests like maths, English, the language arts and science and social study, we can do it all the same day.
I would not recommend that. You possibly could, but right now you can't because it's just overbooked. But if you could, I don't think they would even let you do that. Is not a good idea because those tests are pretty long and you would be tired, and by the time you get to the last test, your brain would be done.
Okay, at least 2 for per day for that.
2 a day is even a bit challenging. 1 a day is better. It's really, and they recommend that. It's you know, because you're sitting there, you're being tested, and then to go and do another one, your brain can get really worn out. So it's not recommended to do more than 1.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think they can stop you, but it's not a good. I wouldn't even do that. You know, one time I took a test. It was 3 different tests in one day. I'll never do that again. By the time I finished, I couldn't even think properly. I barely could drive. My brain was exhausted. So I wouldn't recommend it. Even as a teacher, I wouldn't do that. 2 maybe, but it's better to do 1.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. See you next Tuesday.
All right. See you Tuesday. Don't forget to try those problems. Have questions ready.
Okay.
All right. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your family. Stay safe.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye.